Raise your hand if you burnt out on Final Fantasy 14. Hold up. I'm covering her face. Hold up. There we go. That makes more sense, right?
There's been a patch for Final Fantasy 14, small or big, that I didn't log in for. This is the first time. Maybe the only, I don't think that there's ever, even when I was not really playing a lot during Stormblood, I would still log in for a patch, even if it was
Stormblood lol.
And some people are asking me why that is. Some people are like, did you quit?
Burnout, I guess.
Are you gone for good? No. Definitely not. Definitely not. But I got burnt out. I didn't think it would happen to me because I played Final Fantasy 14 nonstop all day, every day for like 6 or 7 fucking years already.
Wow.
Since 2015.
Is anybody else burned out? Any burnout in chat? Raise your hand if you burnt out on Final Fantasy 14. Any burnout in chat?
I played all the time. All the time. I've always been in the game, or at least, you know, logged in, running around. This is the first time where the patch came, and I didn't feel like I need to log in. I don't feel like I've gotta play right now. Even though, obviously, I love the Loporrits. They added the Loporrit Beast Tribe. They're adorable little bunnies. They're my favorite beast tribe, probably. So I want to do those quests.
Dude, ooh, nice. Oh, you made me say the word.
I want to do Deep Dungeon at least once with a group. But those two things alone,
yes,
don't make me feel like I need to drop everything else I'm doing and do that right now.
Big agree.
I don't feel like any pressure to do that right now. And I've been really spending a lot of time since yesterday thinking about why, like what happened to me. Is it just Genshin thirst? No, I don't think it's just that. No, I don't think it's just
that's a good way to look at it.
No, I think it's normal.
Genshin thirst.
I think there's a few different factors at play here. A big one being the fact I just got really burnt out from top. I think this is the biggest one.
Did Zepla finish top?
Before that,
anybody know?
What had been happening in the past?
I know she's like phase 4
since the war started. Last year, February, the war started. Was just moving around a lot. I couldn't play a lot. I did story. I did some raiding.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of times where I just started the stream and we would only talk about Final Fantasy 14, and I felt like I only need to focus on Final Fantasy 14. I should only talk about Final Fantasy 14 only. I felt really married to it.
You could see Zepla burning out in real time. Like, she'd load the stream, she'd be sat in Charlian watching videos, and then she'd like watch videos for 3 hours, run one dungeon, and end the stream. Kind of like what I do. But yeah, you could tell she was burning out hard.
I felt very...
I think you know when a break is due.
Tied into it. But in the process of me trying to always have something to talk about that's related to Final Fantasy 14 for a year, a lot of times there was not something for me to talk about. And a lot of times, especially last fall, when I felt like I felt kind of lost. I felt like, what am I even doing? There were times when I would just go to the FFXIV subreddit. I would go to FFXIV discussion subreddit.
It's too real.
I would go to the forums and we'd talk about like the same 3 to 5 topics. Like it felt like it was just the same 3 to 5 things we would always say over and over and over. And it just it wore me down because I felt like in trying to always talk about the game, it made me feel like there wasn't a lot going on.
I honestly think this is one of the worst games to like be a content creator for. Like for me, if there's nothing happening in Final Fantasy, cool, I just want to play it. I don't care. But like when it's like, this is Zepla's like job. Like when her job is to like stream Final Fantasy, that's like your job. this is one of the worst games to have that as your job, because they don't just say, oh, go play other games. They literally design the game that way. They design the game so that you play it, it's done, and you move on. Like you do the content, you're done. Whereas like a normal MMO or like other MMOs are like, they want you online. They want you online all day. There's FOMO every day. They like World of Warcraft, you can run content from 9 a.m. until midnight every single day. You can do back-to-back things that aren't time gated and be progressing your character every single day. And if one person is doing back-to-back dungeons all day and the other person is just logging on at the weekend, one's going to be a lot stronger than the other. Whereas like Final Fantasy, it's like, you done the story, it was good. You done the deep dungeon, it was good. You got the beast tribe done, it's good. That's it, you're done now. See you in 3 months. So like, for her as a content creator, that's rough. For a player, it works. But yeah, must be rough.
The cracks started to show. And
use the brave.
I was tired.
Really?
It got to a point where people were actually getting mad at me. Like, people were getting upset in the comments of our videos we'd post. Because people are just like, tired of it. I'm tired of it. They're fucking tired of it. They were like, people were like, oh, what are we going to talk about today? Are we talking about how Criterion Dungeon rewards aren't good? I'm like, well, yeah, I guess this is what we're going to talk about. And it's just like, I was already burning myself out. Lately, it's just became very, very clear to me. You can't just scrape the bottom of the barrel all the time for the little shred of content that you can. But I feel like it happens a lot in FFXIV community. Like, anytime there's any teeny tiny little bit of drama, the smallest little droplet of drama, people gotta milk it for all it's worth because there's nothing else to talk about.
Yo, Final Fantasy Twitter is a cesspool. Has any of you guys like follow Final Fantasy Twitter? It is every week there's another twit longer. You won't believe what happened in my static. Here's my thoughts on this guy. Like, every week there's some huge Final Fantasy drama. That's true. It's because there's fuck all else to talk about. There's so much drama in Final Fantasy now.
I think a lot of it has to do with just the way that content.
Don't look myself. Yeah, don't go on it.
Which is the fact that you got a major patch every 4 months.
Rip.
And between that, you'll have an incremental patch that has not a lot in it.
Yep.
It's just not enough to keep people busy all the time for there to be like to run the content mill in a normal way that other games do. I'm not saying that that's entirely bad. It's one of the things that makes Final Fantasy XIV such a unique and a good MMO, and I've said it many times, is that it doesn't pressure you to always be playing like a lot of MMOs.
Yeah, Twitter's bad.
You can just go in, you can play the new content, and the new content usually will take you a week, maybe 2, and you can just go back to whatever else you were doing.
Yeah.
And that's the way that they built the game.
That is the truest thing. That I wish I could find every new player who goes into Final Fantasy and just share that 60-second snippet, because it took me about 6 months of frustration and complaining before I realized that like the best way to play the game is log in, do the new content, and log out, and then go play a different MMO that works differently. Like, I wish somebody would have told me that when I joined. They should have that as a disclaimer under their MMO. By the way, log in, get it done, log out. Because that's the healthiest way to play. You won't get stressed if that's how you play.
In fact, with this new incremental patch, there's a relic weapon step.
Kinda.
Which is, the relic weapon is supposed to be something that you work on slowly over a long period of time. It's supposed to be the thing that's keeping you busy as a casual who wants to log in more. From what I understand, the step is just turning.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like 1,500 tomestones or something.
I agree.
Which I could do it right now. Like, I could log in and get it and then log out without doing anything because I already have that currency. Just it's not a lot.
Yeah.
You just pay for it and you're done. It's not necessarily bad for a player. There's not FOMO, right? There's not pressure to constantly pay for your sub.
Yes.
But from a content creation standpoint, for me trying to always
very true.
Make something out of nothing all the time, and like the news all the time, and what's happening with FF14 now, it's just I was already burning myself out, and I think in some ways I started to feel really just negative and not very good.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Like when you have nothing to talk about, that you just draw on the negatives, right? When there's nothing to do, and like in Zepla's position where she sat there for like 6 hours a day, and she's got to talk about Final Fantasy, you're just gonna get negative. No reason to rush the story. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've got some friends who haven't even played like 6.1, which came out like 6 months ago, and they're just gonna play it all at the end. Why not?
We did DSR around the Christmas holiday, where I did the ultimate raid DSR. We went hardcore hours. We did 8 hours a day.
Hog.
And God, I loved it so fucking much. I loved it so much. It was the hardest content I'd ever done. It was incredibly intense. It was so much pressure, and I was there for it. I was just ready to do my best every day. And it completely just like, for me, it was just like this oasis of like, wow, I remember why I love this game. I remember what makes this game so good. I remember what makes the content so fun. It's this is the pinnacle of raiding. We all have to work together and do our absolute best in a synchronized way to defeat this content. It was so sweet. I love
That's Dragon Song, right? DSR.
I felt like such a revitalized interest for the game with DSR. And it made me think, well, I got so much enjoyment out of that, I should just raid. I should raid some more.
Eek.
And so I got ready for top, and
top looks hard.
I wasn't as prepared for top.
Yeah, top looks hard.
Didn't have time to put the whole group together. Didn't have time to meet the group before we started.
Eek.
Didn't know most of the people in the initial group.
Eek.
And so when we went in there, it was kind of a disaster.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
Yeah. On the prog, Zepla was behind for a while. It looked hard. Like top looks hard. There's a big question about whether the game should be designed for content creators or not. It's a really good market strategy. It's a good experience for the average user. I agree. I think it depends what you want from an MMO. Like Final Fantasy sells itself as a story MMO. That's like its big selling point. And its big like thing is there's no need to log in every day. That's what people tell you about the game. And that's fine as a game. Like it almost feels like you're playing a single player game with DLC. Like they go, some more DLC, and you go, ooh, I get to see what my favorite characters are doing. And you buy the DLC, which is a sub, and then you play through and you go, I'm done again. And then you wait for the next DLC. And it's like you log in, play for 3 days, log out. That's how Final Fantasy feels, especially right now with there's like little to no content. But I think a lot of the frustration and a lot of the anger and like resentment that's coming out is because before Endwalker, there was a huge wave of other MMO players. Like myself, I came from WoW. There were loads of people that came over from WoW. Loads of people came over from like Guild Wars. There was just like an influx of tons of new players. And they all got to endgame, fell in love with the game, and then had to say, okay, I'm done, and log off and leave it for 3 months. And I think that is what made people bitter. And I think that's why a lot of people like got a bit frustrated with the game. Once you understand that's just how the game works, it is what it is. I'll start probably won't finish the proper expansion. Next race is coming out in 2 months. Yeah. Top looks really hard. Top looks
because
really,
by the time
really,
we started
really hard.
recruiting, most people had already found a group. So it was really, really rough.
I'll never be able to do an ultimate.
Like top was, week 1 was a disaster. We had to replace so many people. There were people who just couldn't keep up. There were people that were not consistent enough to do the content. And then it didn't help that it's SR, but not like in a fun way. It felt kind of miserable to prog.
Ooh, and you coming on that bad. True.
And I would have probably stuck with it.
Oh, did she
if our
quit
group
top?
had stayed together.
Rip.
I did that for longer than I should have. I was doing top, and if you were watching some of the top streams, you probably seen that I wasn't having a good time.
Yeah, I should get it. I agree. I
was just not having fun.
I agree.
I was straight up not having a good time. we weren't making progress. We were just wiping on P1 over and over and over and over and over.
It looks hard.
I got desperate to the point I started keeping a log of mistakes so we could keep track of, well, who's making mistakes.
Oh God. Oh God.
So this way we can all like have accountability. And what is the group wiping to? And people would ask me, well, what's the tally for the day? So I was doing this for the team. And I would always keep track of how many mistakes.
There's a reason that Ultimate is made for like the best of the best, because there's people who read that and go, oh yeah, I love hard content. People like jizz over like Ultimates, and I completely get it. You want to be the best of the best parser, best in the world. Someone like me who reads like, you got to come home from work, get in a voice call and prog. And if you're doing wrong, I'll tell you you're doing wrong, and I'll give you your homework on how to get better. And like that sort of shit, like I just want to have fun. I just want to play games. I don't want to go to work when I get home from work. So I get why people like Ultimates, but they're not for me. They're not for me, bro. It's hard for new players how they're consuming 10 years worth of content until they reach endgame and realize how the updates get released. Yeah. We do all the content, then do the other size, but eventually runs out, and all you're left with is unfun, massive grinds for barely any reward. Yeah, big true. Huge true. Absolutely Ludlow.
That caused a wipe every day, day after day after. Do you see how many pages of this shit there is? Do you see how many pages?
And then we wonder why Zeplas burnt out. Yeah.
Page after page of like me keeping track of all of it. But I shouldn't have to do that. Okay? I should have known already that was a red flag.
True.
You need people in your team that are self-motivated and that are accountable themselves.
That sounds rough.
If you see like my initial thoughts after we cleared DSR, I made like a little video summarizing my thoughts on it. And I actually got some people criticizing that and kind of upset about what I said. Because I had said in it that DSR was such an incredible combat experience, such an incredible battle experience, that reminded me of why the combat in FFXIV is so good. Because it forces everyone to use all their buttons. It forces the team to work together. You have to do it all. You have to play your best.
Smart.
Or you can't clear. This made me see battle content in the game in a new light. It made me see the rest of the battle content in the game in a new light that I hadn't seen it in before.
That's cute. I want to see the game in that light.
Compared to that incredible experience that I had, doing the expert roulettes is just not interesting to me from a combat perspective. That's not interesting to me.
Huge agree with that.
The trials, like the newest trial, was really a phase.
Casual content. Dungeons are way too easy. Extreme
several times. Like, it's not
easy one-time thing.
We were actually going to make a guide for it, and I was working on the guide for the new extreme trial. And then we decided not to release it because you don't need the guide to clear the fine.
What?
I was working with Selly. We were going to work together and make a guide. But the guide, we had it all written. Like we had like all the graphics ready. And we decided to not post it because you don't need it. You can just go in and have no idea what you're doing and clear the fight without an issue. I play FFXIV for the story and for rating. Those are the two main reasons that I play FFXIV.
I never even went in there.
The friends of mine that I know that are still playing FFXIV right now, just waiting for the next patch, are either like, no, they're doing the deep dungeon content right now, which I will do eventually, or they are in an FC. They're social players. They are taking screenshots. They're having fun. They're at nightclubs. They're DJing or any of that stuff. I know a lot of people that do that
easy.
And I'm not interested in that, really, that much.
Wow.
So for me, I care about story. I care about raids. And there's no raids out right now. Maybe when the Savage tier comes out, that could be fun to do.
When's that going to be, like August? No.
Story I definitely want to do. So that's my priority. That's what I care about.
May, June?
There's just nothing in the game right now that I want to do. That like I really feel like I need to do right now.
That is a very good video. I like that. I like how real Zepla is. I like how real she is. She's very, very, very real. Sums it up. Very good.